Hey guys, Hype Sounds, Hyperion here today. I'm going to show you how to make this lean on pluck. It's a very popular sound, very cool sound, kind of hard to nail down just right. I'm going to show you what I mean. This is a little more advanced. You can download these presets from my sounds page at the link below, SynthMob, and you can get this preset and these MIDI files from me. Just add me on SoundCloud, also at the link below, and send me a message, and I'll be happy to give you some of these presets, these sounds, etc. So let's give it one more listen. Forgive me, this sound, this acapella isn't on, but I really didn't give it too much thought. So here's the sound, and I have an auto filter here on this group, and this reverb can be pretty important too. So let's jump into it. You can see here that I have in this group, it's a massive track and the silent track. And so together they both kind of fill it out. You know, this sounds pretty big with layers, and just the envelope, it's pretty thick. And you'll see in this synthesizer here in just a minute, it's got a lot of voices. So not everybody has silent, and silent really isn't quite to my biggest preference, you know. Some of the interface is kind of hard to use. The envelope mapping are generally hard to nail down, and they're a little more finicky, so it's harder on the mouse, the trackpad, and I don't like navigating. Anyway, without getting into it, here are the chords if you want to try to, I don't know, grab them real quick. It's a C sharp major 7. I couldn't tell you right now, I've just had a little too much wine. Okay, anyway, let's jump in here into our massive patch. And so we want a lot of voices. So let's immediately go over to the voicing tab and crank this up to like 7. Also turn on this pitch cutoff and make it wider. And so what we just did is we created a lot of voices and we detuned them so they don't have a ton of unison, but it's going to give it a nice stereo width. And then we're going to further edit these sounds. So let's give that a listen. Let's turn that way the hell down. So you can kind of hear the timbre of the sound in the harmonics. So let's grab a few of these and detune them a little more. 22 cents up, 13 cents down. It's not an exact science, guys. Play around. Tell me, comment in below what settings you found the best. I'm gonna do 23. I don't really care. And so we want the wavetable position all the way to the right. And so just for no reason at all, feel free to experiment with like all these different waveforms. The other day I was doing some classic and carbon and screamer, drive. These drive ones sound pretty good, and these math sound pretty good. So let's just grab a math for now. But if you want to keep it safe, just go with your square saws, and you'll want, I guess, 1 oscillator square and then 2 saw. And I guess if I were to do it, I would want both as a saw, plus and minus, so they're both saw waves, but I just want to make it saw 2. And then this one, let's make it a square. This one's right, you know, not tuned at all, and we got to crank the amp up for each one, and let's route them all through filter 1 for now, and you'll see why in a second. We'll get a little more advanced here. Real quick, before we do anything else, we can assign a little pitch envelope to all these to give it a little pluck right when the sound hits. So let's grab our first envelope here and hold shift, and we can click into all these, and it drops it in each one. And now let's pitch each one up 40 semitones. And it doesn't really matter what number you choose. We're going to play around with this, find a setting we like in a little bit by modulating the level here. Okay, let's give that a listen. Let's fix this first. And so playing with this, you can really hear the release in the sound. So maybe if you want more nuance to your sound and you don't quite like the way I'm doing it, feel free to play with the releases in both this envelope, the second envelope, which is going to be our most important, and then the fourth, which is to our amp envelope. And real quick, let's dial in that number 4. Let's crank the envelope all the way up and basically have no attack. So as soon as the sound hits, we're going to hear the sound. We can turn the decay pretty far down too. So we're getting there. So let's jump into the heavier lifting part here. Now you can see here in this filter section, we have sear and par, and everybody on YouTube messes this shit up. They say serial or parametric or something, but it's series or parallel, which is like a nod of the tip of the hat to electronics, where you can have circuits in series and parallel. So what we want series. I'll explain what they mean. So series means it's going to go through filter 1 and then filter 2, where parallel means it's going to go through filter 1 independently of filter 2. So you'll have sound coming through this way, and then you can mix between the two, and sound coming through this way, whereas it's going to come through filter 1 and then filter 2, where series, which is something that we want here. So let's grab some low pass filters and grab our second envelope and doctor that up real quick. And so here's kind of the finicky part. You're going to really have to dial in these envelopes just where you want. So basically we turn the cutoff really low, but when this envelope hits, it's going to give us this nice pluck where some of the harmonics are going to be able to come through based on these parameters that we're setting. So we can modulate this pluck to come in. Give it a little bit of resonance. Again, you're going to have to find what you like. And we want everything to be coming through mix 2. Let's turn off filter 2 for now. So here's a handy trick we can do. If we have a decay that we like in terms of time, but it's too steep, so it cuts out too fast. It cuts out the same rate, but it's too loud for too short and too quiet for too long. So what we can do is turn up our envelope, and then we can pull down our level here. And so what it does is it's smoother, it's slower, but it doesn't go up as high. So it's as though you had it to here, but it's a little smoother. So we're getting there. We're going to want to introduce some distortion. So let's grab an insert here and let's just go to a sine shaper. And just for kicks, let's grab I'm between a hard clipper and a bit crusher. For now, I'm just going to do a bit crusher. I won't really mess with this for now. But let's just turn a little bit wet of this sine shaper and give it a little bit of drive. Give it distortion, trying to thicken up the sound a little bit. So now we want to go here into the FX and give it some reverb. That's pretty big for the sound. So just give it a little, well, you know, we want to be pretty liberal and give it quite a bit of wet. And again, I'm going to say it again, this is something you're going to want to dial in to your tastes. Alternatively, you can do this little trick with the delay. Grab a delay synced, and I like to make them 1/8 each. No feedback, totally damp. No damp. Okay, so it just delays it by an eighth note, which sounds pretty good harmonically, you know, or rather rhythmically. It just kind of comes in at the right time, and you know, the delay and reverb and mixing it in is pretty much the last 10%. This is 90% of the sound right here, but that last 10% is really what's going to get you to where you want, you know, the aesthetics of the entire track. So. You know, this is pretty much an approach to the massive track. I'll show you the other one I have going on. To be honest, I think this one sounds a little better. Just kind of came up with it. Obviously, you'll have to tune these in a little bit. But basically, you want to have a lot of voices. Let's crank it up even more. Just kind of experiment with it, guys. So like for instance, let's go into this mod osc here. We're not going to mess with ring mod with face, but just to give the position, this is for, I guess, a sound with a little bit of uncertainty. As I read in the manual, it said for kind of blown instruments. I'm going to use it for this cow flute here in a bit, but check out what happens when I put it just on one oscillator. And then introduce the others. Who knows, guys? So yeah, this was just the massive patch. I'll show you the other one I have going on. Let's mute this one real quick. And then what Lean On tutorial would be complete without this little vocal synth dealy. Just pushing some keys there. I don't really know how the melody goes. Anyway, what you would want to do, everybody's trying to do it with a synthesizer and all this shit, and that's not really doable. What you want to do is just go into the acapella somewhere and be like, oh, this is some really good vowel sound where she makes an E or an O or, you know, whatever. Chop it. Drop it into a sampler, maybe do like a little pitch correction, increase the resonance if that's something you're really into. You can transpose it all over the place. Just absolutely just slice and destroy, make something crazy and cool. So send me what settings you like the best. Hope you enjoyed the video, and check out some of my other videos, and follow me on SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/theincrediblyhyped, and check out my sounds at SynthMob, the link below. Happy producing, guys.